Hello, welcome to Ask Mother. Just so excited to have you with us on today. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas. And here we are in a brand new year. And we're glad that the Lord has blessed us. Up until now, we are blessed, and I'm so grateful. So let's see how we're going to navigate this session on today. We have I was at a memorial service, and one of the speakers that got up made a statement that really resonated in me, and I thought that it would be something worth sharing with you all. And the statement that he made is that love is inconvenient. And, you go, huh, well, you think about, he said true love is inconvenient. And we all know that love is a choice, and it is inconvenient. And then the statement that he made, he said, if it was not inconvenient, Jesus certainly didn't have to die the way he did. But it is inconvenient when we look at ourselves and look at our relationships, and we look at um, the way we deal with our loved ones day by day, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your children, your family members. Uh, it challenges us. Our love for each other is challenged, and it is inconvenient. Um, and so I thought, let's just explore this for a minute, all right? And welcome, come on in. I'm just so happy to see you. And you have questions while we're in the midst of this, then send in your questions to ask mother to questions. We'll put it up on the screen. Questions at askmother.net. Questions at askmother.net. And you can type those in, and then we will deal with them actually the following Tuesday, so that we can just see what your thoughts and your questions are regarding this topic. That the guiding principles of our lives only become meaningful when we adhere to them in times of inconvenience. What do I mean by that? I mean that when we are challenged and we live through that challenge and come out on a positive way, then we appreciate the challenge. When we hit hardships in our lives, whether they're with individuals or circumstances of life, when we come through them victoriously, then sometimes we come through them not so victoriously, but they all become very learning experiences, and it's something that we can be look back on and be grateful for. Many times the thing that hurt us the worst, when we look back on them, uh, in the fullness of time, we look back and are thankful for it, because even though we thought at the time it would destroy us or would just destroy our relationship, it actually brought us closer. And so our moral character is truly tested upon the backdrop of pressure. Uh, and think about that. Whenever there's pressure applied, whenever there is challenge, where there are challenges that appear, That's when our moral character is truly tested. Will we run? Will we fight? Will we, how are we going to handle those challenges that come into our life? What kind of outcome are we looking for? And when we have challenges with our loved ones, let's say our spouses, um, when we do what we call fall in love, a lot of things we don't see. Other people might see, but we don't see them right then because we are looking through rose colored lenses. And it's only until later that we start to actually see some of the flaws that are in that person that we thought is the end all and the be all. And then we start to see the flaws, and then that challenges, did I just have a feeling or is this really real? Can I stand and withstand? Is this one of those, what they used to call it, infatuation, or is it real? And that's challenged every day. The reality of our love is actually even challenged with our children, because nobody does everything right all the time. And nobody does everything to our pleasing all the time. And we certainly don't do everything to the pleasing of those who love us all the time. But our love for that individual, it challenges us to determine whether is it worth um, us going through it? Is it worth sometimes the tears? Is it worth the misunderstanding? Is it worth just the setbacks that can come forth in relationships? And we look at those things, and then we see how strong our love is. Sometimes it doesn't bear the test of time. It doesn't bear the test of trials and troubles and situations. And in marriages, many times they wind up in divorce because it just did not bear the test of time and the test of the trial at that particular time. But there have been so many times that I have talked to couples when they come looking at the divorce court, and some may have even filed papers. And then when we look at the situations and the depth of their commitment to each other, they take another look and take another stab at their relationship because they figure, okay, if we can get through this, we're going to be stronger. We're going to know ourselves better and we're going to know each other better. And you have to accept every one of us come with a past. Every one of us come with failures. Every one of us in every relationship, all of us have idiosyncrasies and all kinds of little things about us that can be really testing and irritating. But the true love that we have for each other will cause us to make the adjustment that it takes to make it to smooth ground again. And in any marriage, I can tell you, you have to learn how to stop charging each other. Don't charge each other. Folks do what they do. And it's a lot of times that we only look outward and don't look inward. We can remember what that person said or did that hurt us, but it just seems like we get a case of amnesia when it comes to us facing up to the things that we may have said or done that was injurious as well. And so I'm saying to us, just kind of look at our relationships and see how deep our love runs. See our level of commitment to our family, to our spouses, to our children, and just to our friends, our relationships. How committed are we? Now, of course, there is a whole nother thing about relationships, and I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm not going to talk about toxic relationships and things like that and abusive relationships. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to talk about true love relationships that hit spots, that hit skids, hit places that are uncomfortable, places of disappointment, and is our commitment to that individual and to the time and the years that we've spent together, is it worth continuing? Does our love uh, feel the bill, or do we determine that it's just way too inconvenient to love this individual? And so I want us to kind of look at this. All love must be unconditional. True love must be unconditional. And otherwise, it's not loving, it's merely acting upon self interest and bailing on somebody when times get hard. And we see a lot of that, a lot of that. And I remember, my daughter was talking about, and I don't think she mind me mentioning this, that she was talking about when her husband, her late husband, and her Ray were doing their marriage vows. Bishop Dwight Haygood married them, and she says she listened to those vows, and those vows weighed heavily in her, and she thought, God, I'm saying yes before these people, before God, before this man that I love, before everybody. This is huge. And it's heavy. And it is. It is. And those that kind of love, we've got to take the commitment seriously, because trust me, it's gonna be tested. And sometimes it's tested right out the gate. And then other times it's tested a little bit down the road. But trust me when I tell you, it's going to be tested. And with that in mind, I usually tell people when their children are babies and little, I say enjoy them, love them, just 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 love and really adore your children while they babies and while they little, because when they grow up, they test you. When they grow up and when they become young adults, when they hit those teen years, and then when they um, become older adults, young, they're still in your heart. And there are things that will come up and that you cannot imagine that that child came out of me. I can't believe that you would even think or do or act in such a way. But the love that we have for that child, it may weigh heavy like this picture here. It may weigh heavy on you, but it's love. It's worth holding up and holding on to, because during the test of time, things work out, don't they? And even if they don't, you've got really good memories. Make good memories. I tell couples, married couples, do make really good memories with each other. Do things together. Go places together. Laugh and talk and play together. Do things together. Pray together. Engage in powerful conversations together, because the chances are that one of you is going to leave the other. But it's the good memories. Trust me when I say this. It's the good memories that make you able to dry up the tears and to put a smile where it used to hurt, and to cause you to remember those good things. And it makes you able to keep going. Laura, you had a question?
Yes.
Speak loud so they can hear.
So what are those qualifying things that makes love heavy, but it's worth it to go through? It's not being mistreated,
Hmm.
but it's those things that happen in life. that occurred to the person that you committed to.
Okay. You want to use your experience with your husband?
You can.
Okay. I hope you all heard her question, and she was saying, what are some of the qualifying things that will challenge, is
Hmm.
that make you able to stand up to the challenges that your relationship will bring? And is that pretty much what you were saying?
Yeah, one thing it's not is
Talk loud.
mistreat. One thing that it's not is mistreatment
Right.
and
Right.
abuse and things like that.
Right. Those are those are two of the things I said we were not going to really
Right.
deal with today, because you're absolutely right. Uh, Abuse and mistreatment is not one of those things that we're talking about today. What I'm talking about is what things challenge you, take you past what you thought it was going to be. What things happen when, how do you behave when your finances are challenged,
Mhm.
especially when you're used to not being challenged in that area? What happens when you you say, "Oh wow, I was doing better than this. Married, I mean
Single.
unmarried,
Mhm.
single. I was doing way better than this. And how is it now that I'm so challenged now? Is the your love able to withstand the inconvenience of challenged finances?
Mm.
That's something that you have to look at yourself to understand and be able to answer yea or nay to. Is your love that you have for your spouse, is it strong enough to withstand debilitating illnesses?
Mm.
Can you deal with that?
That's a big one.
And yeah, my daughter was saying that's a biggie because she lived through that. And you know what? It was her level of commitment to her vows and to the love that she had for her husband, that when he became very ill, and actually that sickness caused him, he succumbed to it and died. But she found herself, Laura used to be squeamish. Oh, she couldn't stand blood. She couldn't stand this and couldn't stand that. Anything medical, and dealing with sicknesses, she couldn't do that easily. But I'm telling you, she became a major caregiver because her commitment to the love of her life was that in sickness, yes, and in health, I'm here. You can trust me in the midst of this. Even though I feel like running into the other room or going somewhere and just staying for a while, I won't do that. I'm going to be right here, and I'm going to bring you through this until death do us part. I'm going to do this. And you will change your schedules. You will change so many things just so you can attend to that person that you love. And those are the things that really ring true when it comes to true love and true commitment, because there are some challenges that's going to come. If they haven't come, keep living. And if they have come, be thankful, because actually you come through stronger. You really do come through stronger. Love is like a muscle. It has to be activated and used and challenged to get stronger. And so if you think that things are going to go just smoothly and wonderfully, and you don't, everything is as you desire, it's not going to last like that. You'll have times of great times. And then you'll have times of upset, times of leanness, times of misunderstandings, times of, I can't believe you did that, or I can't believe you said that, all kinds of things. But the true love, the inconvenience of those kinds of things will cause true love to dig in, not run away. You will not fly away when you are challenged, when you have that real love, because it can stand inconveniences. It can stand it. And um, you cannot love without being unconditionally understanding. That's really something. The Song of Solomon says, of all of your getting, get an understanding. And it's true. That's true. That's in the book of Ecclesiastes, I think. Of all of your getting, get an understanding. Because if you can understand, the very thing that would have you thinking, oh, I can't believe this, you'll wind up saying, well, that's my honey for you. I tell you, this is just like her, or this is just like him, because you understand them. And guess what? Understanding takes time. Understanding takes commitment. Understanding takes conversation. And when you have to come to a place of unconditional understanding. Um, you've got to understand the other person's shortcomings. You have to understand the effects that the other person's past has had on them. You have to understand through strife, and you may be in strife right now. You must have an understanding through strife, because you're going to get them. You're not going to be in agreement all the time, and you're going to be angry. You're going to have arguments. All of those things are going to come. But
Culture.
yeah, oh, that's another thing, especially when you um, marry cross culture. It's important that before you do it, you learn the culture that you're getting into, because a lot of values are different. A lot of
Hmm.
customs are very different. And you have to
Yeah.
learn how to make compromises. Things are not going to always be the way you do it, but you've got to learn how to agree and go along with things that it's not what you would normally do. Those are some of those inconveniences that we have to suffer when we truly love. And our differences and our indifferences. There are some things that, one of the things that can really get you when when you're very concerned about a situation and the person that you're in love with is very indifferent about it. It don't impact them. I don't think it's that important. Okay, so you can't, what are you going to do? Fall out of love because they don't agree with your level of emotional attachment to this or that? No, because there are a lot of things, I'll just use this for an example. My husband, uh, God rest his soul, loved sports, and he loved football, and he was a basketball player. And so what he would sit there and he would have two TVs running and the radio running.
Sure did.
And he'll have his playbook. This is
Yeah.
basketball playbook right there beside him. And he would turn the volume down
Mm.
and listen to the commentator, because he had some specific
Yeah.
commentators that he liked to listen to. And he would listen to the commentators and watch what was going on. And sometimes he'd be watching two games at one time.
Extreme.
I just thought that was so much.
So extreme.
And then he would say, "Oh, baby, so and so, oh, you should see this." And I would say, "Care? I don't care." I really didn't care. Oh, I just thought that was ridiculous. It was overmuch, and it was ah. I thought he just had a compulsive obsession with it. I just thought it was just too much.
So he was a coach and a player.
Yeah, but you know what? And on Saturdays, please, on Saturdays and on Sundays, and then they started moving it to these nights. But all of that, it used to just get on my nerves. And so one day I was complaining about it. I said, it's supposed to be our time together, and you watching that game, and I was complaining, and I hurt myself. And I thought, oh my goodness. And I went into the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and said, God, help me. This is not good the way that I'm doing. He can't even enjoy it for listening to me fussing. And I found myself being jealous of the game. Like, oh no, it's coming on there. And there goes his attention. And I said, Lord, what can I do about this? Help me with me. You know what came to my mind? Go in there, sit down beside him, and tell him to teach you about the game that he loves so much. Well, I said, what? I didn't even want to know it. See, no, sit down and ask him to teach you why he loves the game so much. Because now I would watch pro basketball. I like the run and gun. I could watch that. But college basketball, I didn't like. And even though he played college ball and everything, but I just didn't like watching it. And he told me one day, he said, you don't understand the love of the game until you learn but to watch college basketball, because that's when you really see the love of that game. So, it came to my mind to sit down beside him and ask him to teach me. I went in the kitchen. I made a great big bowl of popcorn. I made some lemonade, and I went and sat down beside him and I said, teach me. He said, what? I said, teach me why you love it so much so that I can understand the love that you have for it.
Oh, that's sweet. That's another level.
And that,
Mhm.
what it did? It not only did it help me to appreciate the game, and I got to the place, honey, March Madness was wild in my house. I was vacuuming up popcorn and chips to all clear into April. I'm telling you, we would have a ball watching those games because I I got past myself and entered into his world. And when I did that, you know what? We had a lot more fun in our relationship, and our communication really opened up because now we could communicate on that level, and it spilled on over into other areas of our lives. And I'm so glad that I humbled myself to what the Spirit of the Lord, I know it had to be the Spirit of the Lord because it yielded such peaceful fruit and such good times. And so what I'm saying is a lot of times that that thing that gets on your nerves in your relationship, sometimes you just have to make adjustments. And in making those adjustments, it's going to really yield some good peaceful fruit and some good times. And so, um, instead of being angry and fussing, stop and say, let's come to an unconditional understanding. That really works. I'm a living witness that that works. Okay. And so commitment means allowing yourself to be dependent on somebody else. And it also, most importantly, allows others to be dependent upon you. And so it opens us up to our vulnerabilities. Yes, your loved one must be able to depend on you, and you must learn to allow them to depend on you, to you depend on them, and they to depend on you, and you establish a line of accountability that solidifies that love and make it work. I hope you all are following me. You understanding what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, and so when we have that level of commitment, the interplay of dependence is what defines and solidifies our bond. You get it? And so as I depend on you, and then in this interdependence, that also can bring up um, glitches in the relationship because I'm depending on you to do a particular thing or to be a particular way. And if you don't quite follow through with that, or if you let me down, how am I going to be able to deal with that? Now, I love you. And it is a tremendous inconvenience now that has occurred because you have breached my level of expectation in you, and I've depended on you. And look, and when you get to feeling and thinking like that, stop and think about the times that you let them down.
Mm.
Think about the times when you didn't follow all the way through. Think about the times that you were not as accountable as you are now charging them to be. And you know what? That backs you down and makes you take another breath because in our interdependency of each other, there are going to be times that one is going to disappoint the other. But our love is going to be able to forego and to forge ahead this and go past this inconvenience. Got it? Okay, so in a relationship, you serve as your partner's rock. That's a dependent. You know, I can depend on you, on him or her. You can depend on them when you can't depend on anybody else. You can know that they're in your corner because of the level of love that you have shared together. And you become their sanctuary and they become yours. It's like you're doing okay. You may be doing okay, but boy, when that one that you love um is there with you, there's a comfort and they become like your sanctuary. You know that's true. And and you become their safe place and they become yours. When you have that love that even though it may be inconvenient at times, it is a safe place to be. And where it's a good place where we can stand back to back against the harshness of the world. And when I say back to back, interlocking our arms so that nothing can get between us. That's, in other words, we're saying, I got your back, you got mine. All right. And so the things that we like about our loved ones the least is which provide fertile soil for growth. The things that I'm sorry, the things that we dislike about our spouse becomes the things that make for good fertile soil because everybody does not please each other all the time. And there's some things, that's why my advice to every couple is to become a student of your mate. And students study and students learn, don't they? And they progress. The more they learn, the more they study, the more they learn, the more they pass their tests, the further along they go into their educational levels. Same difference in relationships. And so we're going to close it off right now, and we're going to pick this up next week. And we're going to continue to talk about the inconvenience of love, and it's worth it. It is worth it. Inconvenience of love is worth it. And we're going to deal with that on next week. God bless you tonight. And I thank you so much for joining me. And I'm going to just have a word of prayer. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you so much for blessing us to see this new year. And we're looking forward, oh God, to be found doing those things that are profitable in our lives, that our relationships are real, and that we can stand and withstand the inconveniences of the love that we have in all of our relationships. And I pray the peace of God that pass understanding to keep your heart and minds through Jesus Christ our Lord. Let love abide. God bless you, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Don't forget Midnight Cry, and then make sure that you put out, send me your questions. If you have questions regarding this subject or some ideas or thoughts, just send them to us and we will address them on the next show.
Questions at AskMotherStallworth.
You can email your questions to questions, questions, at askmother.net. Questions at askmother.net. See you next week. God bless you. Good night.